All right, let's dive into the single most important first step anyone should take to get their financial life in order. Seriously, before you even think about investing or starting a side hustle or any of that other stuff, there is one thing that has to come first. It's the bedrock for everything else, and that's building your very first emergency fund. And just look at this. This number is wild, 70%. That means 7 out of 10 people are walking around without this fundamental safety net. If you've ever wondered why so many people seem trapped in a cycle of debt, well, this statistic right here, it's a huge piece of that puzzle. Because think about it. Without that foundation, any one of these things, and let's be honest, we've all faced at least one of these, can go from being a simple inconvenience to a full-blown financial catastrophe. That's the problem we are going to solve today. So, how do we build that solid foundation? Well, it actually starts with understanding what wealth really is. And I'm willing to bet it's not what you've been told. We're always told that wealth starts with things like risky investments or a super high-paying job, all the stuff you see on the left. But that's like trying to build a skyscraper on quicksand. The real starting point, the true bedrock of building wealth, is what you see on the right. It's protection. An emergency fund is basically your financial shield. It's the thing that stands between you and that crippling high-interest credit card debt. It's what keeps you from having to make that awkward phone call to borrow money from friends. And it protects you from the sheer stress and panic that hits when you feel like you have no other options. It stops a small setback from completely derailing your life. And this phrase right here just says it all, doesn't it? With this fund, a broken-down car is just an annoying afternoon. You get it fixed, you move on. Without it, that same broken-down car could be a crisis that costs you your job. It literally changes the entire game. Okay, so you're on board, but the big question is always, how much do I actually need to save? And yeah, that number can feel totally overwhelming. So we're going to break it down into a super simple two-phase system. See? We're going to start with a quick win, that's the mini fund, and then once we've got that momentum, we'll build towards the full fund. This approach makes the whole thing feel so much more achievable. So let's start with phase 1. The most crucial part of this whole process is to just start small. Your first goal is not 6 months of living expenses. No way. It's just about getting a quick little safety net in place. All you're aiming for is $500 to $1,000. That amount alone can handle most of those small but super annoying life emergencies. So once you've hit that mini fund goal and you've got that win under your belt, you're ready for phase 2, building the full fund. And your target here really just depends on your job situation. If you've got a stable, predictable income, like a salary job, your goal is 3 months of your essential living expenses. But if you're a freelancer or your income's kind of all over the place, you'll want a bigger buffer. You should aim for 6 or maybe even up to 9 months if you're self-employed. All right, now where you park this money is just as important as how much you save. The rules here are really simple. It needs to be safe, it has to be separate from your day-to-day cash, and it's got to be easy to get to when you actually need it. I want you to think of it like this. Your emergency money needs to be like water from a tap. It's got to be liquid and immediately available. It can't be locked away in some high-risk account that's riding a roller coaster on the stock market. That's why those inaccessible, high-risk places, they're the absolute enemy of a real emergency fund. So where are the best places? Well, a high-yield savings account is fantastic because your money actually earns a little bit of interest while it's just sitting there. But honestly, even a basic separate savings account at your regular bank works perfectly. The key, and this is the most important part, is that it's out of sight and out of mind. And please, whatever you do, do not keep this money in any of these places. Cash at home is risky and way too easy to spend. In your daily checking account, you'll just spend it by accident. And investments or crypto? Absolutely not. Your emergency fund cannot, I repeat, cannot be subject to market swings. It has to be there in full the moment you need it. Okay, so we know the why, we know the how much, and we know the where. Now for the most important part of all, the how. Here is a dead simple 5-step action plan that you can use to get started from zero, literally today. The plan is so simple. First, you pick your target. Then, you set a small savings amount. Then, and this is key, you automate it. You find a few small expenses to trim, and you use any extra cash wisely. Let's break down the most important parts of that. Step 1 is all about psychology. Don't stare up at a $10,000 mountain and get discouraged. Your first goal is tiny. Just focus on getting your first $100 saved. That quick win gives you the momentum, that little hit of dopamine that makes you want to keep going to 500 and then to 1,000. And if you're thinking, I don't have enough to save, just look at how quickly these tiny amounts add up. Finding just $2 or $3 a day, maybe by skipping one fancy coffee or a snack, can build your mini fund way faster than you think. It's all about consistency, not about saving huge chunks of money. Now, listen up, because this is probably the most powerful tool in your entire toolbox. Automate it. Set it and forget it. Go into your bank app right now and set up a recurring transfer from your checking to your savings that happens right after you get paid. This takes willpower completely out of the equation. The saving just happens effortlessly. Okay, we've covered all the practical stuff, the nuts and bolts of how to do this. But I want to end on what I think is the most important point. Because the real payoff here, the true reason we do all this, it's about so much more than just the money sitting in an account. This right here is the ultimate truth. An emergency fund is you buying yourself peace of mind. It's the freedom to sleep at night knowing that if something goes wrong, if life throws a curveball at you, you're prepared. You have a buffer. You are in control. Remember that number from the beginning? 70%. Most people skip this absolutely critical step, and then they wonder why they can never quite seem to get ahead. So after everything we've talked about, the only question left is, will you be one of them? But you know what? I don't think you will be. You're here, you've taken the time to understand this, you're not most people. You're ready to build your foundation, protect your future, and take that first incredibly smart step towards real financial security.